Good morning, students. Now I am here with a new chapter, lesson number 9, The Encounter. This story is about the imagination of a girl whose name Megha. Okay, now here I am starting the story. Listen very carefully. It was late in the afternoon. Sunset was about 3 hours away. Lying on a grassy mound. Here, moon means, what is the meaning of moon? Moon means a small hill. A small hill, which means moon. Megha, the main character, the protagonist of the story, watched the slow sailing clouds. The clouds sailing means the clouds were just floating. You can say that above her for some time. A light breeze turned the pages of her exercise book. She was there in the school, that's why she was carrying the bag, and in the bag the books were there. Megha, hearing her name, she sat up with a start. Start means a sudden movement of the body when you are frightened or surprised. Okay, and turned around to see her friend Neha. Neha was Megha's friend. Aren't you going home? They both were there in the school, and as the school was over, Neha is about to go to home, and she was asking with Megha, are you going home? Aren't you going home? Don't you have to go to Miss Sophia's at 5 o'clock? Neha asked her. Miss Sophia was their teacher, okay, where they used to go for tuition. No, not yet. If I go home now, Mom will tell me to eat something and do my homework right away. Now she was just explaining. Who is she? Obviously, Megha. Now she was explaining. And what's wrong with that? Very surprisingly, Neha asked. Megha made a face at Neha. Oh, okay. I won't say anything. You stay here and daydream. I am going home. Now, Megha was just made her mind. She was not ready to go home. After she tried to convince, Neha tried to convince her, but at last she says, "Okay, I'm not forcing you. You just stay here and daydream." Daydream means the dream which we see in the daytime. Okay. Neha stormed off angrily, leaving Megha to continue what she loved doing, gazing at the sky and watching the clouds make different shape. Here the word I used, stormed off, which means walked away with heavy footsteps. Okay, there's nothing wrong with a little daydreaming, Megha called out. However, there was no one around to listen to her. Everything grew quiet. Even the school building in the distance looked empty and lonely. It was too late, that's why it was happening there. Megha turned her attention to her exercise book. The homework question made her smile disappear. It was a question asking her to write an essay about an amazing experience. She picked up the book and thought for a while. Then she slammed it shut and laid it back on the grass. So Megha was there and she was thinking, she was just daydreaming. All of a sudden, she saw her notebook. What was that? What was there in the notebook? When she was just smiling, after seeing the notebook, the smile disappears because in the notebook there was a homework in which she has to write. What she has to write? She has to write an essay about an amazing experience. Huh, homework, now she said. She grumbled aloud. Grumble means showed unhappiness at something, complained. Okay, all the words are given in your word meaning in your book. So students, you have to learn after listening this chapter, then you have to learn all the words. She watched the clouds go by. Again, she was starting gazing the clouds. One looked like an elephant in a skirt. So see how she was imagining. She was just imagining. The clouds were looking like the what? Elephant in a skirt. She thought. It made her giggle. No. Another looked like a butterfly dancing with a dragonfly. All the shapes, whatever shapes she was seeing, it was her imagination. One even looked like a dog with a giant tail. She continued to amuse herself in this way for a while. Here, amuse means to make someone laugh or smile. Then she began to doze. Doze means to sleep for a short time. That was when she saw it. A bright streak of gold darted across the sky towards the woods. Woods means forest. She sprang up and wondered what it could be. She started to imagine all kinds of things. She thought of a fallen star. What was their imagination? She started thinking? She thought of a fallen star and wondered how pretty it would look. She also wondered if it was a fairy, a beautiful one in a white and gold gown, or even a fire spitting dragon. All were her imagination. She was just thinking all the thing, maybe. She ran off towards the woods. Finally, she went there. The woods were scary. In the darkness, the trees looked like they were waiting something to happen. The dead leaves crunched and crackled under her feet. Still, she went on, wanting to find out what had fallen from the sky. She wants to know, that's why she was just moving on. Finally, she saw it, a shiny, round object, a size of a small car. What was that? Aliens. She wondered. She stepped towards it but stopped suddenly. She heard something behind her. It was the sound of leaves crumbling underfoot. They were footsteps and they were getting closer. She looked back and saw a terribly ugly creature with scaly grey skin. Perched high on its head was one blazing red eye. Perched means placed on the top of something, and blazing means burning. Megha froze with fear at the sight of the monster coming closer and closer. She screamed and tried to run, but it grabbed her. Its grey claws scratched her arms. She fell to the ground and everything went black. When she woke up, she found herself lying on the same grassy patch. Her exercise book lay beside her. Was it a dream? She asked herself. The next day, during the English class, Megha read her essay. The teacher said, "That's quite an imaginative piece of writing, Megha." The class clapped for her. Later, later, when no one was looking, Megha rolled up her sleeve to look at the scratch marks on her arm. So, students, this was the story all about. So, here you can say that this is the story. This story is all about the imagination, the curiosity. Okay, and in this story, the main aim of this story is just to think logic in this story. After listening, or in the meantime while you all were listening, you can think and think what is going on in this story. So this story is totally based on the imagination. Okay, so this is the story all about. I hope you all enjoyed the story of the Megha. So, student, after listening a story, you have to write all the word meanings which are given at the back of the chapter in your copy, and you have to learn all the meanings too. And once again, as I used to tell after every video of mine, please read chapter at least 2 to 3 times just for the better understanding of the chapter. Okay, my dear ones, bye and take care of yourself.